Hi everybody and welcome back to AFTV. We are outside Arsenal Stadium. It's quite chilly, but I'm warmed up by the fact I've got two of my favourite AFTV contributors alongside me today. I've got to my left, my boy Matt.
Man, you good?
He braved a car crash to be with us today, so special shout out.
We don't want to mention that just in case the
absolutely, yeah. I hope I haven't dropped you in it. And I've got my boy with me, Dan Potts, to my right. We're going to talk about the Wolves game. Now, guys, they say there are no easy games in the Premier League, and for the most part that is true. However, without wishing to be too condescending, I would imagine that Arsenal are, so we say, strong favourites for this game there.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Wolves are looking terrible. Let's just say how it is. They're trying to compete with Derby with that 11 points. They've got two at the moment. Without getting too cocky or confident, I think this should be an easy game. But I have said that before. I said that when we played Southampton here and we drew 3-3 and went 2-0 down. So we've got to be careful. And I think it would be foolish for us to go into this game shaky, because I do feel like we are clearly better than them. But the players have got to prove that. And there's certainly from the club Brugge days the other night about how many of these players might get a nod for this game, because I do think it's important to rotate. And I do think that whatever squad we put out there should be good enough to beat this Wolves team.
I would say that. Matt, now, as Dan alluded to, Derby coming into this game, very poor form, 2 points all season. So should be straightforward, should be. However, we do need the points. We've been dropping points away from home recently. How important is this game?
Every game's important. Every game, I know it's a bit pressurising, but every game is sort of a final. We have to win every single game. Wolves have obviously, like you said, been a terrible side, but Tottenham, they got 50% of their points against Tottenham, so you never know what can happen in the Premier League. I think that we'll come into this game looking to score a lot of goals. I think that Zubamendi played last night because he's probably going to play a midfield of Eze, Odegaard and Rice. So we're going to be trying to, absolutely annihilate Wolves, which I'd like to see, because it could be like say we win 4 or 5-0, it could be a big confidence boost for a lot of players individually. I'm sure we'll get onto the striker in a minute, but he's someone that I think needs to start and needs to score.
Well, let's talk about it. Dan, we were speaking off camera, and we were saying, me and you were saying that we capped hard, didn't we, for Gyökeres in the summer. When Emil Sesko's name was mentioned, both of us would shout that down, say, no, Gyökeres is our man. The stats kind of proved that. But how would you say he's been so far?
Disappointing. In fact, disappointing is probably a little bit of an understatement, if I'm honest. I thought his best game for Arsenal in an Arsenal shirt was against Burnley, and unfortunately he came off injured. I've got no problem with him scoring against Leeds and Burnley and Forest. That doesn't bother me. I don't care who you score against. But I need to see him score, and I'm not seeing him score enough. And I appreciate that some of the kind of Gyökeres lovers or the people that want to give him time are being more kind of lenient in towards his performances. He holds up the ball well. He does a lot off the ball. So do the other players we've got. I brought him to score, not to do what Havertz does. He needs to be an upgrade on those players, and I'm not sure that he is at the moment. It doesn't mean he's not going to be. It doesn't mean he's going to be a flop. And I look at some of the other opportunities to sign strikers at the moment. None of them are doing great. Let's be real. I would say there's probably only Ekitike that's done quite well out of the players that have come in. I don't think Isak's found his feet at Liverpool.
I think Voltemada's been all right.
Voltemada's been very good, actually. I'll go with him as well as Ekitike. But when you look at what Isak's done, what Sesko's done, what Gyökeres has done, it's kind of been a little bit questionable. So I like some of the stuff that he does. I'm not going to say I don't. And as a footballer, I like some of the stuff that he does. But we didn't bring him in to be a bully boy and hold up the ball. That should have come as well as the goals, not instead of. And that's my biggest problem with Gyökeres right now. And I think the kind of damning indictment really was Jesus coming on and making him look a bit silly. Oh, he doesn't get any service. We're not really making it easy for him. We're not giving him enough chances. Jesus didn't really get many chances, but he created his own chances. Yeah. They didn't put on a plate for him. I didn't see Odegaard threading blue the boy. He looks sharp. So when Jesus is outperforming you, Marino's outscoring you, and everyone's saying we need Kai Havertz, it's not looking good for Victor Gyökeres. So I don't want to give up on him, but at the same time, he does need to show me more.
I mean, Matt, I'll come to you in a minute. What I would say on Gyökeres, to be fair to him, he was injured, and when he came on for that half against Villa, I thought that's a difficult assignment, really, coming up against Villa at home. His first game out for a few weeks, but against Bruges, got to say I was a bit disappointed, and so we need to see more. Let's hope that this weekend, Matt, he can do that.
Yeah, there's no beating around the bush. It's not looking as good as we thought it would with Gyökeres. We all know that. I think more importantly, he probably knows that. But I think this is where, at this point in the season, if we want to win things and we want this club to be connected, this is where us fans need to step up and have those conversations, in private and stuff. But when we've got a platform like this, and you've obviously all worked very hard to build a platform like this, players see this, people talk. This is where we've got to back him, be together, because we all want him to do well.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not like I think it's fair to say that it hasn't gone how it was planned so far. But obviously there's a player in there, had 97 goals he scored last year. So I think, Saturday we all need to be bigging him up, make sure he gets that goal and just stick with him, because, he's plays for this football club, and while he's here, he needs our support.
We're seeing glimpses so far, but we need to see more. As Dan was saying, we need to see more, and we need to see some goals.
Yeah.
It's all right running around, putting the shift in, but we need to see goals, because let's be honest, we brought him in as a finisher, didn't we? We was all saying that all we need is a number 9 up top. We get a good number 9, and the rest takes care of itself. At the moment, we're not quite seeing that, but like I said, still early days, still relatively early in the season. So
the one question I will ask though is, you often hear we're not playing to his strengths, but then that makes me question, why did we sign him if we didn't plan on playing to his strengths? That's what I can't quite understand.
I think as well, like you say about that, I think a lot of people will look at last night's performance as well and say the reason we scored those goals and we had that space for Martinelli and for Madueke is because of what Gyökeres is doing, occupying that space and allowing people to get onto him. So there is that question mark. And I do think that he does bring other players into play. I don't question that. I don't know that we bought him for that. I feel like we bought him to be the goal machine, to be the gunman, the killer in the box, and we haven't seen that yet.
No. I mean, just to set the record straight, no one's questioning his attitude, his work rate, his commitment. All we're saying is that we thought we might have seen a bit more in terms of goals.
Yeah.
We're not quite seeing it yet, but we're hopeful.
Yeah.
Right. In regards to the game against Bruges, nice win, 3-0. Anyone played yesterday that stuck their hand up for a possible start or for the game against Wolves?
I think so.
And if so, who?
Well, look, Club Bruges and Wolves is the only real time slot that we've got to try and rotate and rest some of these players. We saw that with Declan Rice. Timber got a knock and was obviously being rested / given time off for the knock. We saw Saka come on, which I was a bit questionable about, if I'm honest. I'm not sure we needed to do that 3-0, but he did get a rest at least. And I feel like he might do similar for this game, or I feel like he should do similar for this game. Now, we all know Mikel Arteta is probably going to start Saka, start Rice, start Timber, everyone again, right? But I do feel like there's an opportunity in this game to bring those players on if we need them, so that they are fully rested for Everton, which I think is going to be very, very tough. So you look at the players last night that probably do deserve to at least be knocking on the door. Noni Madueke's got to be, if he's doing those sort of goals, those performances. I love the fact he's direct. I love the fact he actually does have a dig.
So direct.
And he's taken on his man and beaten his man, and he's very good at that. He's kind of a 1v1 demon. But I look at what Saka does now when he cuts inside. He used to shoot. Now he's kind of the assister. He's kind of the crosser, looking for other players. Noni's having a go. And Martinelli's shot was unbelievable. That was a brilliant goal. So I think those two have got to be knocking on the door for sure.
Yeah. What I would say about that before I come to you, Matt, is that I hear that. However, I do think you have to, even though we've spoken about Wolves not being in a great place, they are, let's be honest, a pretty poor team. But nevertheless, we have to show them a certain level of respect. We need the points. We're desperate for the points. City are only 2 points behind as we speak. So I would say, Matt, we need to start as fairly strong side, if not the strongest side.
Yeah, don't disagree. We need to blow these. I know. Look, if we were to win 4 or 5, everyone would say, it's Wolves. But this is so important that you get used to scoring goals. We don't really batter teams. I know we smacked Leeds at the beginning of the season, but we don't ever come out and score 3, 4 or 5. This is an opportunity to do that and get used to that. And let the fans get used to that, because that's what champions do. They go and humiliate teams, and it's a big opportunity to do that. So I would definitely go strong. And I want to give a special mention to Ben White, who I think has, after being out for so long, that can play with your head a bit. He was once a starter, once the main man in that defence. And to come back in, slot right back in and look like you belong there, I think he's been superb. Superb.
Absolutely.
Going forward, brilliant. Going forward, I think he's much better than Timber, but that's not a discredit to Timber, because I think defensively,
I think overall, Timber nicks it, but you're right in saying that Ben White's telepathy going forward, the build-up play with Ødegaard and Saka on that right-hand side, I think Ben White knows very, very well. And I think you're right to mention Ben White, and I'd continue playing him, because I know that there's injury problems at the moment in defence. You've got to try and look at who's playing well and who's fully fit, and he's one of those. So I think he stays in.
Midfield, Ødegaard, was started for the Villa game. I thought he had a good game. A lot of people said he was Arsenal's man of the match. Played well against Bruges again. Do you think he retains that spot?
Yeah, 100%. The skipper's getting back into the groove, and that's what we've got to do. Odegaard makes it tick. If Odegaard has a bad game, Arsenal don't really have a good game. So he's the skipper. He's the one that makes it tick. And I think with games like this, where we're going to be having a lot of the ball, this is where Odegaard shines. When he's able to have that space, play, create chances over the top to Gyökeres, hopefully. Yeah, he's definitely got to start.
So what do you do with Eze then? Because it's kind of looking like, as a left winger or left-sided forward, he's not at his best. A lot of people say to me that Eze in the middle is when Arsenal are a bit more creative, and he will have a pop on goal more so than Odegaard would.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you reckon?
Here's one for you then. I'd play them both in the middle.
Agreed.
I like
That's
that.
what I would do.
Tell me how that works. How's that configured?
Well, I've always had this kind of theory that Odegaard is a little bit more deeper than a 10. I've always believed that even last night when you saw him playing against Club Bruges, that he was a lot deeper when he's receiving the ball. And I do believe that there's more of an 8 in him than a 10.
Yeah.
And I'm the other way with Eze. I think Eze is more of a 10 than an 8 or a left winger. So I think Eze should be that in that Odegaard position, and Odegaard should actually be in that Declan Rice position. The old school Declan Rice, which was more advanced as an 8. That's where I see Odegaard. I don't think Mikel Arteta will do that.
No. But for me, what does he do with Zubimendi?
Precisely. I've always wanted to see Lewis Skelly in that midfield. We're not going to see that at the weekend for sure because Calafiori's suspended. So I imagine Lewis Skelly will play left back. But I just think that when you're Wolves at home, let's go and free up a bit. Let's express ourselves. Let's allow Eze and Odegaard to get into the team. I actually do want to see a little bit more from Martin Odegaard. I've got to be honest. I agree with Matt in terms of the press and how we play when he's in the side. But I need to see more creativity from Martin Odegaard, and his decision making, I think, at times needs to improve. I like the fact he's shooting more at times now, and I do like the fact he's working the goalkeeper. But I do want to see a little bit more weight of pass, some vision, some threading through balls, and a little bit more instead of that loft, which drives me nuts. Because if I was a striker and he's lofting it over, I'm thinking, cheers, mate. I've either got to half-volley this or stick one in top bins. I'd rather he just put it through to my feet. So I want to see more from Martin Odegaard, if I'm honest. But I think they can both play together in midfield.
I must admit, you're making me a believer of that. I do like that. But I would say that to me, Eze offers more creativity. I think projecting forward, I think if you go to Everton, which we do the week after, and you need someone to do the hard yards, that's when I think Odegaard is preferable to Eze.
Yeah.
But I think if you have a lot of the ball, we know what Wolves are going to do. It's no secret. They're going to come and sit way back. You know what I mean? So I think Eze in the middle there, creating stuff, shooting from outside the box, he would be my preferred option. But then I can also see Odegaard.
We tried it, didn't we? I think it was West Ham at home. They all started in midfield, and Odegaard came off with a shoulder injury, and we didn't. But I think we've seen them start together since. So it's obviously in Arteta's plans. And like you say, with Wolves sitting back, this is a chance to put all your attackers on, go strong, and like I keep saying.
Just touching on that, how do you? Because like I said, we know what Wolves are going to do. It's been done before to us many times over by teams even better than Wolves, much better than Wolves. I mean, Man City did it to us, breaking down the low block. How do we go about that effectively?
I actually think that Eze is massively key to that, to be fair. I think that's why we brought him in. I think that he can kind of be good against the team with low blocks. The only problem I've got with Eze is it's like someone's told him that the left hand, if he does play on that left hand side, it's like someone's told him if you get near the corner flag, then you're going to collapse. Because he just drifts inside. You know what I mean? That's all he does is he drifts inside. He hasn't really got the pace and power. I don't see him run much actually, and like sort of sprint to go past players.
I've said it before. He's
more
not
classy.
The most athletic of football players.
No, he's not. He's not. And I think technically he's got it, and that's why what he uses. I don't think he needs to use his pace or his power. So he's a completely different player to one of those like Martinelli or Noni Madueke, funny enough. But I do think that we need all of those profiles. But in terms of defeating a low block, that's what they're going to come here and do, Wolves.
100%.
I will say this quickly about Wolves. Under Rob Edwards, I'm not saying that he's an unbelievable manager. I think what he did at Luton was superb, by the way, and underappreciated. But I think he will get them fighting, Wolves players. They'll probably know. You go in that dressing room at the moment, we're not going to come to the Emirates and expect to win. But you know what? I just want you to fight. And I think that's what they'll do, and they'll fight with a low block to try and get something out of here, because a point would be unbelievable for them here. So I think we've got to be careful of that. And it isn't only Eze that we need for that low block. We've got to look at our attack as well, because against Villa, I've got to be honest, I didn't think it was our defence that let us down against Villa. I thought it was actually our attack that weren't quite right, missing chances they should have done better with. Little like through ball from Marino to Saka is dreadful. It should be going through and it should be a goal. That's the sort of thing we're missing in the final third, so that's got to improve for me.
One thing I want to see a little bit more, which we saw last night in the league, I want to see us shooting from distance, because these players
I say
are
every week on streams.
Look, every single person that plays in the Premier League is in somewhat class, right? We've got world-class players that you saw last night. Noni Madueke, look, you have a shot, it can go in. Stop with all this trying to walk it in the net, because you've got players that are all capable of sticking it in, unsavable shots. Martinelli, top right, Madueke, top right, barring in. Just have a shot. And with
not only that, even if
especially,
it doesn't go in, there's a lot of times when a guy has a shot,
it's parried out,
parries out, and there's someone on the end of it.
Or you get a corner, or
exactly.
Just
Things
have
happen.
a shot. All these players are capable of whacking it. Just do it more. Look what happened when we did last night.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I agree.
Yeah. So, anything else you guys want to mention in terms of the game? Is there any?
I thought Norgard was very good yesterday at centre back, by the way. I think that's another option. We've got about 56 centre backs.
Good shout, by the way. I watched you call that on with Judges the other day.
Thank you very much.
I watched that and I thought, I don't know if he's going to do that. Well, what do I know? But I thought he did well.
It's about time we saw him as well, by the way. I mean, I was disappointed that he didn't play against Brentford, because to me, it was obvious that Declan needed a rest.
Yeah.
You could see in the Chelsea games he was showing signs of tiredness there. So when Norgard didn't get the start, I was like, bro, if we're not playing Norgard against Brentford, really and truly, why are we buying him? Because at the end of the day, that would have been perfect for him. But anyway.
Can I just quickly throw a rogue question out there? Do you go old school 22-23 Martinelli, Jesus, Saka on Saturday? Do you consider it? Or do you want to, Gyökeres to get out there?
Yeah, I would start with what I perceive to be my strongest team. And I think if we're being honest at the moment, even though Jesus looked, quite bright, quite lively, he's still coming back from injury. I would definitely go Gyökeres through the middle. I'd go Saka on the right. Trossard's probably not going to be back, is he?
No.
There's talk that he will be out for a few weeks. So,
Madueke or Gabby on the left?
I might be inclined to go Gabby and bring in Madueke, because Madueke is far better on the right, isn't he?
Yeah.
If we're being honest. But I'd be looking to start what I believe to be the strongest team. But I would be looking to introduce players as the game goes on.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I wouldn't start the best team. I would potentially end with the best team if we have to. So if we start with, let's say, Madueke and Martinelli, and let's say it is Gyökeres, I think when you look at that, you might look at Saka, you might look at Rice potentially to come on if they need be. If we're 2-0 up, we don't even need to bring them on. Do you know what I mean? But if it's 0-0 maybe, or the low block's really struggling with it, maybe you bring on those then. But I'm not going to say that it's got to be Gyökeres ahead of Jesus. If Jesus is 100% fit right now, I don't think it's a mad shout to say that you'd start him. But certainly introducing him is something that I'd like to see, because I was really impressed with when he come on.
Yeah, he did look like.
Yeah.
Right, guys, we've got to move to predictions. Let's start with Dan.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I'm not going to go for the
Bit
4s and the
conservative,
5s.
huh?
That's a little bit boring.
I know it is.
2-0.
And I'll tell you why. Because I've heard 4s and 5s and 6s because Man United put 4 past them at Molineux. So really I should go for more than that. But I've seen teams come here and make it difficult for us in the last couple of seasons, and I think Wolves are going to do that. I think they're realistic. Yeah, and do you know what? I think they probably fancy themselves more at Molineux against Man United than they will here. Yeah. So I think we'll get to see different Wolves, and I will go for 2-0. But listen, I'd love to see 4 or 5 going.
I'm going to go rogue. I reckon what happens is we score in the first 10 minutes and it completely opens up and we win 7-0.
Being serious as well.
I'm going 7-0.
7-0. I'd love to be able to.
But no
predict
disrespect
that
to
well.
Wolves.
Of course not. Listen, I'd love to be able to predict 7-0, but we don't often bash teams like that. And not only that, I do believe that Wolves will come and show a bit of fight under the new manager. They did so when they played Villa. Actually, they had their moments against Villa. So I'm expecting them to, fight for this shirt. But I do think once we get one, their heads might drop a little bit. The crowd will be up for it. We need the points. I'm going to go 3-0, Arsenal.
7's a bit ridiculous. I'll say 6.
6.5. But yeah, I think we're all predicting a clean sweep. I mean, let's keep it real. This is a game that we should win.
Yeah.
If we've got aspirations of winning the title, we've got to be beating Wolves at home. They've been really poor this season. Okay, they have got the new manager and all that, but come on now, we should be beating them comfortably.
Agreed.
So yeah.
Respect.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you on the next one.